Hey, welcome back to the Corberlang channel. Today, we're going to be going through my entire collection of G.I. Joe O-rings and picking my top 10 favorites. Between Cobra, G.I. Joe, Dreadnoks, Iron Grenadiers. I only had so much room to display on my flags, so there are others that aren't shown here, which I will mention later. I won't just be picking old favorites. Most figures, besides the early ones, have been placed randomly, so I can't just dismiss an entire year that I don't like. Basically a chance to reevaluate these Joes and pick a fresh top 10, more in line with my current taste. Yo Joe! First of all, I just want to take a minute to appreciate this. I've never really taken the time to set up all my Joes. Could you imagine getting this many Joes as a kid? Wow. Like, think if you were like Owen King, Stephen King's son, or Screech, I think was another big G.I. Joe fan, and just getting this many Joes. It'd take you till supper time just to set them up. There's some of my favorites in here. Even these guys back here are part of the 82 to 94 lineup. Before we get to picking our top 10, we're going to go through and take a close look at each year. Ones that I should mention that I didn't have room for are some of the mail-aways. Ones that were exclusive to just the mail. Ones like Sergeant Slaughter. There was the William Perry, like the fridge. There was Steel Brigade, which was a figure that was basically you. You fill out the form and they sent you the file card, filled out the way that you wanted to, and the figure. They also did one that a lot of people aren't aware of for Cobra as well. The Create a Cobra. It's this one here. Yeah, it's another hard one to find. Pretty nice figure. Not as nice as the Steel Brigade in my opinion. And the Ninja Viper. You have to pardon me, I called it a Night Viper in my last video. Yeah, Ninja Viper. A couple other nice ones are this Listen and Fun Tripwire. It came with an audio cassette. Grand Slam silver pads. This is another one that was pretty hard to find. Jump. The first year of G.I. Joe was straight arm. It was the original 13. And then they re-released them in 1983 with the swivel arm. As for the original Cobra, we were given the Cobra Commander with the lighter blue color, like the cartoon, the Cobra Trooper, and the Cobra Officer with the dark blue, as well as some additional characters. So I'm just going to basically disclude the 1982 and just start from 83 on. 83 was an amazing year for G.I. Joe. The original 13, they just looked amazing together. Besides Snake Eyes and Scarlet maybe, but Snake Eyes became one of their best-selling figures. As well as the original 13 in 83, they released Snow Job, one of my favorites, Tripwire, Gung Ho. You could actually get Duke as a mail-away for the first time in 83 as well. And then in 84 he was released on card, Duke. There was a bunch of other amazing ones in 84. We got Storm Shadow, we got Zartan, we got the Hooded Cobra Commander, Firefly, one of my favorites. Just an amazing year. I could never get these figures when I was a kid, like I was saying, so when I started in 85, I always saw these characters on the cartoon and just wanted them so bad. Anyway, 85 was when I started. I didn't know, I thought I was scoring some 84 figures with the Dreadnoks, but because they didn't have the swivel neck, as I just learned on Analog Toys, that Dreadnok video he just put out. Because I always thought the Dreadnoks were 84 because of the straight neck, but they are actually 85 with the straight neck. I thought 84 too, because I saw Storm Shadow in 85, you could still get him, so I wasn't too sure if he was the same, but he was released in 84. But for 85, as a kid, I had almost every one of these guys, except for Lady J and the Snow Serpent. But I had all these guys here. This was a great time for me as a kid.
G.I. Joe will return after these messages.
In an age yet to come, in an age long since past, gladiators from across the universe have coalesced upon the field of battle to find out who amongst them is worthy enough to wear the crown. Who amongst them shall rise to the top? Who amongst them has the power? Are you ready to crown a champion? Are you ready for champions of the universe?
back to G.I. Joe.
86 was another great year. By this year, we can really start to see that there are a lot of military positions, I suppose, because there are less military looking by this year. But we're already used to colorful figures like maybe Airtight and Barbecue from 85 or Blowtorch from 84. So they were just throwing more and more of those types into each year, as well as military looking like figures. 86 gave us figures like Beachhead, Leatherneck, Commander Hawk, Mainframe, Lowlight, which I never had as a kid, but you probably don't care. Lifeline, Lift Ticket, which came with the Tomahawk. We got a version 2 of Roadblock. Also, the Mail Away, the Fridge, came in 1986. Another gem from 1986 was Mission Brazil. Came with an audio cassette tape, and these figures, which were just repaints of original figures, except for the leader, which is Claymore, which you might recognize the head sculpt, which is Footloose, but it's not Footloose, it's Claymore. 1987 was the last big year for me as a kid for G.I. Joe. I remember getting a little bit, like that was the first year that they come out with Raptor, which was a little bit carried away. And the colors, like Crazy Legs, I liked, but bright red just seemed a little bit out there for a skydiver. But there was ones, where the red was nice. I loved Jinx that year. 87 brought me my first Gung Ho, the one in the Marine outfit. We got Rumbler with the remote control vehicle. Law and Order, which was Kurt Bazigian's face. There was just a lot of cool things about that year. Sneak Peek, I believe, was the file card said Owen King, which was dedicated to Stephen King's son. Which I should mention there, the Crystal Ball, that one was written by Stephen King, the file card. What else did we get in 1987? The Steel Brigade, that was the Mail Away. That was yourself, that was the Starduster year. 1988 wasn't really a big year for me. I was starting to get out of it. There was only a couple good ones that I wanted from that year. They were getting harder to find. Coming from a small town, they were getting harder to find on the shelves. I remember seeing Tiger Force. That was about it. I picked up a Tiger Force tripwire when I was a kid. I wanted Road Pig, and I wanted the new G.I. Joe version of Storm Shadow, so I ended up getting those ones from the city. It was a good year in the sense that Night Force come out, the Toys R Us exclusive. They're very sought after, nice figure, dark colored black repaints. Tiger Force come out that year. Oh, the Destro Iron Grenadiers was, for a lot of people, myself included, was my only and first version of Destro, so that was kind of cool. 89 was basically the same as 88 for me. I just kind of snuck in there and grabbed Naugahyde, and I grabbed Snake Eyes version 3, because that was pretty cool to have another version of Snake Eyes. And for the rest, yeah, I just kind of let them go. But there was a lot of cool figures. They were just kind of all getting a little bit colorful. There was less and less military ones. Backblast was a cool one I had as a kid that was kind of military. Yeah, still a cool year. I'm not going to knock it. For a lot of people, this is the year that they started, so this is what they're going to love. Night Viper is an amazing one. And 89 was the year of Python Patrol, which were the repaints of Cobra. It was an elite Cobra force. Yeah, they were cool. They were Cobra repaints with this Python Patrol color scheme. By the 90s, I did not know nothing about G.I. Joe as a kid, so everything from this point on I've learned as an adult. The 90s, I've collected a lot of them. Some of them I like, some of them I don't. One I'd like to mention is the Night Creeper, just a beautiful ninja. The 90s did bring a lot of ninjas, I must say. They started to get a little bit too colorful, which, I don't know, maybe it didn't work. I did like a lot of the molds, that if they did use darker colors, they would have looked a lot more, martial arts style. The 90s were great. There's some really nice fluorescent ones. They just don't match with the original years, so... you got to understand at this time, too, everything was getting colorful. Everything was about fluorescent colors. You would see skateboards and stuff at the Kmart or the Walmart, and they'd have all these same G.I. Joe colors on the skateboards and t-shirts and whatnot. So not necessarily what I collected, but definitely some cool looking figures. Welcome to the judging portion of the video. Time to pick our top 10. Since the 1982 Straight Arms were re-released in 1983, we're just going to combine 82 into 83. and make this competition from 83 to 94.
Let's begin.
Okay, welcome to the top 10. None of my choices are going to be based off the cartoon or the comic. Everything is based off of what you see here and how they look as action figures. Okay, my first choice is from 1986. He was a Ranger. One of the parts on him broke a lot, so they made another version with that part redone in a softer rubber, a little less fragile. If you haven't guessed yet, it's Beachhead. G.I. Joe to me is meant to be army men. When I was a kid, most kids had a little bag of those plastic army men. So G.I. Joe, I guess, to me is an extension of that. So my ninth choice is who I think is one of the best army troops. He's an infantry soldier, but he's from 1985. If you haven't guessed yet, it's Footloose. My number 8 choice always seemed to have a broken crotch. He was a desert trooper. He was named after somebody at Hasbro, Ron Rudat. They just switched the name around to be Ron Tadur. They just did the last name backwards. If you haven't guessed yet, Dusty. My number 7 choice is an amazing Cobra from 1985. He's one of the best frogmen of the entire line, in my opinion. It's Cobra Eels. My number 6 choice falls under that logic that G.I. Joe is an army line, and I do respect the ones that stay true to those army positions. Number 6 was from 1984. He was a skydiver. He had an amazing green camo and looked pretty cool all decked out in his gear. Ripcord. My number 5 choice is pretty popular. He really does capture the essence of G.I. Joe. And he goes along with a lot of other figures that I like. He was first released as a mail away in 1983. But he first came out carded in 1984. If you haven't guessed, it's Duke. My number 4 choice is pretty popular too. For something with a play feature such as his, he does look pretty mean still. His skin changes color. From 1984, Zartan. My next choice is from 1984. He's a Cobra Saboteur. Unfortunately, he's one of the ones that I haven't found and reorganized in my toy room, so what I am going to do is open up the next best thing. I have one that's the same mold, just different color. My number 2 choice is a tie. A big part of G.I. Joe for me is army building. So I've picked my 2 favorites. The first one from 1985 is Crimson Guard. And my second was from 82 and 83, but I'm picking the 83 swivel arm Cobra Trooper.
That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
My number 1 choice was not too difficult. Out of all these figures, I figure the best G.I. Joe character should capture the essence of an army trooper, but also capture the imagination of a child. So for me, the best one out of all of these, coincidentally, turned out to be the same one as when I was a kid. Snake Eyes, the best action figure from the whole line.
Bill Cosby. See, you might remember across the Cosby Show. Insane dark things, Ghost Dad, and Fat Albert with the hey, maybe even one of the commercials.